Obamacare and the youth vote. That's what I'd like to talk about today. You know, we've talked since the election about the need to dismantle the Obama coalition of African Americans, Latinos, unions, gays, and young people. And much of the efforts of the Republican Party has been debating immigration reform in an effort to peel off Latinos. That's not going very well. But while that's happening, there is a real change going on among young people, and it's going to accelerate in the next 3 or 4 weeks as Obamacare takes effect. And in fact, it will be probably the major impact on a political level of Obamacare. Let's remember that in the 2012 election, if you only counted the votes of people 30 and older, Obama lost by 50 to 48. But he won because in the votes of people 29 and under, he won by 61 to 36. So that young vote is absolutely pivotal to him and pivotal to the whole country, because young voters are longtime voters. They're going to go through the system like a mouse through a snake. and if they vote liberal and Democrat, you're just going to see that in election after election. Well, the first big loss for Obama among young people was the NSA scandal, the Snowden revelations. That absolutely blew up his base among young people. The polling suggests that his job approval among people under the age of 30 was 14% higher pre-Snowden as opposed to current post-Snowden. And as more revelations have come out, I would suspect that probably is going to continue to drop. Well, the other shoe is going to drop on October 1st, when young people find that they have a choice between going into the insurance exchanges and paying 10% of their income on a health insurance policy they don't need and generally don't want, because it's far more extensive than what they need. What they need is targeted catastrophic coverage, and they're not going to get that. And the subsidies will only kick in after they have already spent 10% of their income on the premiums. And their alternative is to get nothing and have to pay a fine of either $95 the first year or 1% of their income, whichever is higher. So if you have a typical young person who's just coming out of school, who manages somehow in this market to land a job for $20,000 or $25,000 a year, that means they have a choice of paying $20,000 or $2,000 or $2,500 for health insurance, or $200 or $250 for not having health insurance and just paying a fine. Neither of those is going to be very popular. And the fine increases next year and the year after till it reaches 2.5% of your income, or $675, whichever is more. And I believe that young people are going to really resent this bitterly. There is no sticker shock more significant than that of an idealistic liberal college student who gets out of college and takes a job and thinks he's making $400 a week, and he gets that first paycheck and it says, something like $283.48. And he says, where the hell did the other $116 go? And it's FICA and it's Medicare and it's perhaps even income tax at a certain level. And I think that what we're going to be looking at is that writ large when young people meet the health insurance system Obama has created. And of course, the other end of it is among the elderly, because they are going to increasingly find that they're not getting access to the medical care that they need. I just spoke the other day to a physical rehabilitation specialist who works with elderly people who have had knee replacements or hip replacements or stuff like that. And he says that Medicare is now capping the total amount you can spend on that at $3,700. And I said, what does that mean in terms of treatment? And he said it would pay about 2/3 of the treatment for a hip or a knee replacement if everything went perfectly. But if there were falls or relapses or infections, it wouldn't come close to paying for the entire thing. And you can buy separate insurance coverage for that, but that is not within the lifetime or the annual cap that Obama sets on out-of-pocket medical expenses. It's in addition to that cap. So I think that young people and old people are going to see how terrible the system is. And I think it's going to increasingly drain Obama's key support among young voters. It's going to be a very interesting process to watch. And this, by the way, is why I don't advocate defunding Obamacare at this point. I want it to take effect. I want young people and old people to see what this system is all about, and have all of us see our parents and our grandparents or our children or our grandchildren go through this process and understand how terrible it is, so that it never rears its head again. If we abort it in its early phases by some active political force majeure, it's not going to have that impact. So that's my thinking on it. Thanks a lot for watching.